Dear students, I welcome you all to the 8th week of Management Concept. The functions of management to be discussed in this week is decision making. Decision making is one of the most important functions of management. The objectives of learning this are to study the concept, significance, and process of decision making. We will go through the styles, types, and conditions of decision makers. We will go through the decision making biases and errors, and also one more objective of this unit is to study the rationality, bounded rationality, and intuition. Groupthink in decision making will also be seen in this unit. The learning outcome of this course will be that the students will be able to understand the concept and complete process of decision making for the success of business enterprise. The contents for this week would be all aspects of decision making to give a comprehensive idea about what decision making is and how important decision making is for every business organization. We will start our discussion from decision making, that is the concept of decision making. We will go through some definitions of decision making. We will see the characteristics of decision making. We will see the significance of decision making. Process of decision making will be also covered in this session. In this week, we will focus on the decision making styles and conditions. Types of decision makers will also be taken into consideration. Decision making biases and errors would also be the core concern for the discussion in this week. Another important discussion of the week would be focusing on the rationality, consisting of bounded rationality and intuition. Groupthink in decision making and techniques of decision making will be covered at the end. So, dear students, before we start, let us see what is the concept of decision making. What is decision making, in fact? We all know that decision making is composed of two words: decision plus making. Now, what is a decision? I believe everybody knows what is decision. It is a common word. In our day-to-day life, we listen this word invariably, because whenever we have to decide something, we take a decision. So a decision is nothing, it's simply a choice made between alternative courses of action in a situation of uncertainty. Making is another word. By making, we simply mean that the process of applying the objective in proper way. It means decision making is a course of action. Decision making, you can say, is a course of action among various alternatives. The thought process of selecting a logical choice from the available options is decision making. This way, decision making is simply nothing but a decision in one where there is different thing you can do and you pick one from them. You make lots of decisions every day. Now, to make the concept more clear, more easy, I will try to explain this in a simplified language. In simplified language, simple terms, you can say that decision making involves recognizing a problem, that is, collecting information about potential solutions and ultimately selecting the best alternatives. Again, in other words, we can say that decision making is a technique of creating an alternative with the aid of figuring out a decision and also accumulating information. It is a process. It is a process of choosing a particular course of action from among the alternatives available, which means that it involves a kind of judgment. When more than one options are there and we are selecting the best one or any one, so it means we are going to exercise our decision. So we can say that the objectives of decision making are to achieve an organization's goal or to solve a problem. It is one of the essential aspects of modern management and a key part of managers' activities. Because a business, to a very large extent, depends upon the process of deciding the best course of action. Decision making is just nothing, but we have to be sure that we are right, then go ahead. Davy Crockett has very rightly pointed out, be sure you are right, then you go ahead. Be sure you are right, then go ahead means now, first of all, you have to be sure that you are right. Then you can go ahead. Simple words explain the entire meaning of the whole, whole process of decision making. Before we go further, students, I would like to tell you a few terms which are like to be coming up in our discussion, or you need to understand to avoid some kind of confusion also. These terms are very common in business world. So I prefer to share with you a brief insight about these terms. First of all, critical thinking. The critical thinking is the ability to question philosophically and exercise careful judgment when evaluating a situation. It is not just like decision making. But some people get confused about it. Coming to the decision, we find that it is a conclusion, or you can call it as a resolution reached after consideration. Another important term that you need to understand here is the problem solving. Problem solving is a process whereby a dilemma is identified and corrected. In business world, every now and then, sometimes of issues arise, sometimes of conflicts arise, sometimes indecisiveness arises. So, problem solving is the way, is a process by means of which the dilemma is not only identified but corrected too. Another term that you need to understand, dear students, is the creativity. Creativity is the intellectual inventiveness. It's a process of bringing some innovations, creating something new which does not exist already. Satisficing is a kind of decision-making strategy whereby the individuals choose less than ideal alternatives that meets minimum standard of acceptance, which simply means that a choice is available for selecting the best alternative. After having a brief idea about the terminologies available, our next focus is on the main theme. So, dear students, week 7 is all about decision making. I will ask you to write one sentence definition of decision making. It could become a challenge for many. If I ask you one sentence definition of decision making, you can say that the process of examining your possibilities, options, Comparing them and choosing a course of action is nothing, it is a decision making. So decision making is the process of examining your possibilities, options, comparing them and choosing a course of action. This one sentence has very clearly made the entire concept of decision making clear, even for a layman. Now, we will focus some more light on the conceptual clarity of the term decision making in the light of the definitions given by some experts of this field. Samuel C. Serto has defined decision making and decision. According to Samuel, a decision is a choice made between two or more available alternatives. Decision making is the process of choosing the best alternative or reaching objectives. Manmohan Prasad has done a lot of work in this field. He feels that decision making can be defined as the process of choosing between alternatives to achieve a goal. It is a process by which an individual chooses one alternative from several to achieve a desired objective. You can see, method of uttering words is differing, but the basic philosophy, the concept is not changing. Everyone is feeling that a choice between two or more available options is a decision. And when we choose the best option, it is a process. So, we can see some other definitions of the decision making given by the expert of the field. Harold Kuhns is a big name in the field of management. He is of the opinion that the decision making is the selection of a course of action. Decision making is the selection of a course of action among alternatives. It is a course of planning. George R. Terry defined decision making as a selection based on certain criteria from two or more alternatives. R.S. Dower, an expert of management, has opined about decision making as the selection based on some criteria. Selection based on some criteria of one behavior alternative from two or more possible alternatives. Try to understand my point. It means to decide. To decide means to cut off, or in practical content, to come to the conclusion. This is the idea given by the R.S. Dower. So, dear students, in short, you again feel that same kind of meaning has been conveyed by all the experts. To learn the concept of decision making more, we are going to have a look at the definition given by Peter Drucker, a great specialist of the management. What he says? He says a decision is a judgment. It's a choice between alternatives. It is really a choice between right or wrong. And it is a best choice between almost right and probably wrong. And finally, Kreitner, an expert, says that decision making is a process of identifying and choosing alternatives, choosing alternative courses of action in a manner appropriate to the demand of the situation. The act of choosing implies that alternative courses of action must be weighted and weeded out, which means that being the students of commerce and management, you need to understand that the decision making is a process by means of which we reach to some important direction. We reach to some important point because of the reason that there could be a lot of confusion and conflict in our minds if proper decision making is not done. In this week, we will learn a number of things relating to the decision making in such a way that we have a complete insight into the process of decision making, because this process is very significant from business point of view. The entrepreneurs every day have to take a number of decisions. So these decisions which are to be taken by the entrepreneurs should be such that they are fulfilling the targets of enterprise. So now, after this, dear students, let us have a quick look at the factors which make effective decisions. Decision making is a process which is dependent on a number of factors. A quick look at these factors can give us a complete idea about the effectiveness of decision making. You can see perception, priority, acceptability, risk, resources, goals, values, demands, style, and judgment are some of the important factors which make decisions effective. We need effectiveness in every field of management. Every function of management needs to be performed effectively. In order to ensure that the decision making is done effectively, we need to go through all these. These factors are self-explanatory in nature. That's why I have given a cursory glance on these factors which make decision making important. Now, before moving to the other important or significant aspects, let us quickly have a look at some basic aspects which you need to understand about the decision making process. Students, in order to make subject appear to be more interesting, should arise more interest in you, I will share with you 6 C's of decision making. The 6 C's of decision making consists of construct, compile, collect, compare, consider, and commit. What is construct? Construct means a clear picture of precisely what must be decided. The words are easy to understand, can be simplified, can be explained easily. When you look at the other C of the decision making, it's compile. Compile or compilation means a list of requirements that must be met. Collect. It is about the collection of the information on alternatives that meet the requirement. That's why we have another consideration in the process of decision making. Compare. I tell you that these are the reasons of making decisions more efficient and fruitful. Compare. Compare alternatives that meet the requirements. If we make comparisons, we will be able to reach to some conclusion. We will not be able to reach to some conclusion if we ignore this part. We should understand. We have to compare alternatives that meet the requirement, and we can choose the best alternative available for our organization depending upon the requirements of our organization. And also, consider. What is to be considered is important. you know what must go, what might go wrong factor with each alternative should also be taken into consideration, so that a correct action plan could be initiated. If we want to take a correct action plan, we need to consider what might go wrong is a very important factor that must be taken into consideration. We are not going to prepare ourselves unnecessarily for uncertainties. There are a number of uncertainties in business. Why should we unnecessarily every time continue with these uncertainties of business with us and lose our peace of mind? A business may not run successfully if it does not take into consideration these 6 C's of decision making. The last one is the commit. To commit simply means commit to a decision and follow through with it carefully. This is just a kind of feeling for making decision making more purpose oriented policy of the management. So after having a look at 6 C's of decision making, now we are going to have a look at the types of decisions. There are more than one types of decisions. For a layman, a decision simply means that anything that he chooses out of the different options available. If we are selecting best option out of the rest available, we have to ensure, because all plans, all types of decision making processes are not applicable everywhere. Depending upon the requirement that this plan is to be taken into consideration. So now I will tell you about the plans which are in practice in all business enterprises on the basis of the requirement. The requirement or the need of the business is to be taken at first. The first priority should be the need of the business. If it is ignored, means that we are not going to do justice with our business. So let us see what kind of plans are there which are applicable, which are used for decision making. Let us quickly have a look. There are a number of types of decisions that are taken up in business on a day-to-day basis. Business takes a number of vital tactical decisions. I will tell you that these decisions could be basic decisions or strategic decisions. These decisions could be about the administrative decisions. This could be administrative decisions also. Also, these decisions may be organizational or personal decisions. And policy decisions could be there. In addition to this, individual and group decisions are there, and also routine decisions and adaptive decisions are taken in business on day-to-day basis. Now I will throw some light on these types of decisions which are taken in business on day-to-day basis, with this expectation that we are going to convey the meaning of decision-making process in the most simplified terms, so that you need to understand the entire concept, other than those which are not given in the syllabus. But and in fact, I will want that you should have the extra knowledge, additional knowledge. Okay. Now, types we are going to see individually what these types are. These 3 pages give you the idea about the types of decisions, that is the basic decision, administrative decision, organizational decision, policy decision, individual or group decision, and also routine decisions and the adaptive decisions. First of all, we just say that all basic decisions are strategic decisions, which involve large range of commitment and large investment. Why? Because these are the base. This is the base on which the enterprise will depend, its functioning. So small or slight mistakes in these decisions would seriously injure the entire organization. The organization may fail if there remains any lapse on the part of entrepreneur in taking the strategic or the basic decisions, because the process may collapse in that case. The basic decisions are very important, and these are to be taken with utmost care and concern. Not only the basic decisions, but there are some administrative decisions too, which are to be taken into consideration before we take the other decisions into consideration. Herbert Simon has classified all decisions into two parts. These are called as the program decisions and non-program decisions. As the names or nomenclatures indicate their meanings on their own, the program decisions are nothing but they are developed with a specific purpose, or you can say it involves organizations which develop a specific process for handling these decisions. For example, standing operating procedures and policies for the company. SOPs, very commonly, very popularly this is used now. SOPs and the policies. Non-program decisions are general problem-solving process. They, of course, involve judgment. They involve intuition and creativity. But they are not program decisions. So they are different from the program decisions. Third category of the decisions is the organizational or personal decisions. Here, we find that the organizational and the personal decisions are very important again. Organizational decisions reflect companies' policies. These decisions or these can be delegated or transferred to others too. While personal decisions refer to those made by a manager as an individual, and these cannot be delegated. My personal decisions will be taken by me only. Decisions regarding my family affairs are to be taken by me only. No one else can take. But the organizational decisions can be taken by anyone who is in hierarchy, or top level can delegate or transfer it to others at the same time. So these are the organizational decisions. Followed by this are the policy of decisions. Policy of decisions means here those decisions which are taken by the top management. Policy decisions are taken by the top management means that the important tactical decisions in every organization are taken by the top level management. For example, what could be a few top level management decisions? For example, you can say the declaration of bonus in a company is a policy matter, which is to be decided by the top management. However, the calculation and distribution of bonus is an operating decision. And this operating decision of calculation and distribution of the bonus is taken up by the lower level staff. So, policy making lies with the top level management. The execution lies on the lower level management. So, it is also one of the types of decision making processes involved in every business enterprise. Now, after this. Another classification of the decision could be in the form of individual and group decisions. Again, the meaning of the individual and the group decisions can be understood very easily, very simply by everyone. The decisions taken by an individual in the organization is known as individual decisions. Group decisions refer to decisions which are taken by a group of organizational members. Who are those members? These are the people from the board of directors. They are the experts. So, this is also a very important category of the decisions making where the individual and group decisions are taken in the organizations. Now comes routine decisions. There is no doubt about it that everybody would be knowing what are the routine decisions. The type of decisions made when problems are relatively well defined and common, and also when established rules, policies, procedures can be used to solve them. This is routine decisions. It is also found in all organizations, invariably. At the end, adaptive decisions, this type of decision made when these type of decisions are made when problems and alternative solutions are somewhat unusual and only partially understood by everyone. These are to be adjusted. In this category of the decisions, there is a kind of flexibility so that the solutions to the problem could be traced easily. So, dear students, this was a detailed idea about the different types of plans.